is what keeps you motivated with surfing. Is like, you know, like what is the perfect wave? You know, what is the biggest wave? And it is evolving. It's not like, you know, like mountain climbing where, you know, you climb Everest and it's done. You know, like it's moving. And I think that's what draws me to surfing.
Out here in Nazare. We are about to go meet up with Andrew Cotty. We got a day full of good stuff, unveiling the jet ski, giving him some Woody swag, maybe an interview, and we'll get to see where he stays and spends his time surfing. So let's go.
I first started surfing, I was probably about 8 or 9. It was Easter holidays. It was like a special treat for my parents. It was freezing cold. We rented a wetsuit and a surfboard. I got changed in the car park. And I think my dad thought that would be, you know, like this experience was so cold and so brutal that it'd be enough to put me off for life. But it was a complete opposite. And I was just like that was it. I just loved it from day one. Like obviously when I left school, like the dream was to be a professional surfer, and it just wasn't really at that time a viable option for me. Or like, you know, how do you do that? You know, like, and I worked in a surfboard factory for over 10 years, and that was like being a professional surfer. You know, like you got to travel a bit. Like life revolved around surfing and surfboards, and it was, and I earned a little bit of money and could it was a dream. I loved it. I really loved it.
So you're known in some respects as the plumber turned big wave surfer. Tell me what that was like and how you were able to keep up with your love for surfing.
The plumber turned big wave surfer. Well, it comes like a time in life when I think, you know, especially from my parents' point of view, like I had to sort of just like knuckle down and get a proper job, you know, like, so that was, for me, was plumbing. Like it was the first time I was working outside of my love for surfing or my passion, and it sort of just made me realise that I just wanted surfing in my life. Garrett, well, I'd actually met Garrett in the 2000 before Portugal. I think we met at a big wave contest in Oregon, but then he phoned up saying he was here in Portugal and we should come down. He was after a safety driver, a jet ski driver, and I was more like, you know, come to Ireland, the waves are better. He insisted, and yeah, well, we ended up coming down and getting some crazy waves, and for me, I just recognised it as an instant opportunity. Like, at that time I was like a wannabe big wave surfer, part-time plumber, lifeguard, with just loads of dreams and motivation. And Garrett to me was like this professional big wave surfer. Like, he already had multiple awards, he had all the knowledge. I was like a sponge, you know. Like, I was like, fuck, this this is super opportunity, and I'm going to make like the most out of every minute of it.
And you were part of his first team out here, right?
We were part of his first team. I can remember him saying, he was like, "How are you at driving a jet ski?" And like, to be 100% honest, I was terrible at driving a jet ski. But I was just like, yeah, I can do it, and, you know. But I think he knew that I couldn't, but he knew that I was willing to learn, you know. And he was on a mission, like, you know, like, and the first few years were super intense. He was super focused. Every day was 100 foot. Like, for him, it must have been a little bit frustrating. For me, it was quite intimidating. But I don't know. I just knew that opportunities would arise where, like, I wouldn't just be a jet ski driver. I'd end up being a surfer, you know. And that was always the dream. And they go hand in hand, you know. Like, you can't have one without the other here, you know. You need to be a complete package. The infamous. I've had so many wipeouts, but yeah. But I've had
the broken back.
The broken back one, yeah.
O André Cotty. Anda bomba. Anda bomba. Ah! O gajo mandou Bora! Bem, caraças, agora os gajos perderam-se do jeito. Aqui. Não, mas está-se bem, já estão ao pé da. Não, o gajo está.
Like, looking back at like now, like there was no way. I put so much and I'd committed so much of my life to surfing big waves. There's no way that I was going to go out and be remembered for falling off. And that's like quite an ego-driven thing. But I was just like, I'm not going to be like that guy that fell off and broke his back. You know, like for me, it was like to be remembered for falling off was like
right.
Like, you know, oh, you're that guy.
Yeah.
You're the guy that fell off and broke his back. So yeah, but I think it was a lot of that is like, you know, my ego was like, oh, you know, and you do. I was 50-50. You come back and you sort of worry, like, do you want it as much? But then you realise like it becomes such a big part of your life. Like, to cut it out is it makes you. It was actually, I've been happier being involved somehow, and then I wasn't sure how I'd be involved, but then actually I realised that I actually still really want to ride waves, and I still have huge ambitions to ride the biggest wave every year, the biggest wave ever, like I still want to surf, and I think, I don't know if you ever lose that. I think it's just the hardest part of that surfing Nazare is, I think surfing is a very individual sport, but Nazare is very team focused. So you've got to have the right team around you, and you're only sort of as good as your team. But on those biggest days, like having a really experienced driver to drive you into waves, having a backup safety driver to rescue you just in case everything goes wrong, and having someone on the cliff spotting and calling and directing the waves and sort of calling in safety directions and stuff like that is like super. It's, there's a lot of moving parts, and I can honestly say like I've been really fortunate, since 2010 to, I feel, always be with like the most experienced guys and people with like-minded goals and ambition. and I think that's what it's about. It's like everyone wants everyone else to succeed, and we all want the biggest waves, we all want the best waves, and we all want to do it safe, you know, like. Yeah, well, I think with the equipment is always it's a process which is always evolving, realizing what doesn't work and then trying to improve, and like going through all the mods on the jet skis and the double impellers and the intake grates and strapping anything that can get ripped off or snapped off the ski up down, and just like sort of like Nazare proofing your equipment, like it's not standard off the shelf stuff, Like.
So what about the life vest and the wetsuit?
With the personal safety equipment, I think the biggest turnaround for big wave surfing, or the biggest advancement, was the inflatable vest. Okay. So now we have vests that you can wear on top or underneath your wetsuit, which are CO2 canisters. And if you think you're in a spot of bother after you fall out, you can sort of literally just inflate your wetsuit. And that is a massive game changer in big wave surfing technology, and it's relatively new. Like I think 2015 it started becoming more available. So those first 4 or 5 years of surfing here, we didn't have that. We didn't have those vests. We just had
dangerous.
Yeah, we just had flotation. Like Garrett used to have these massive float suits, but with that you're floaty, but then you can't swim underneath waves. So it has pros and cons. Yep. But with these inflatable vests, you can wear less float and only use it when you need it, and it makes you so you can actually surf the waves better. You're more movable. It's actually safer. My relationship with Nazare in Portugal, and I owe a lot. It's created my career in big wave surf, and it's shaped me, me professionally as a surfer. But it also has I've met so many really like-minded, passionate people about the ocean, and that's not just the surfers who come here, but it's also the locals in the city hall who started the projects, to get us here in the first place, and yeah, it's like a second family, they've looked after me in the darkest moments of injury and whatnot, and made sure I got through out the other side. So it's almost like you feel like you're constantly preparing for that day, that day of waves, or the day, that storm. So I work a lot on my fitness. I've got great facilities here, great pool, do a lot of swimming, training, and preparing, but Nazare, the North Beach, is a great surfing beach, but the whole coastline is there's so many good waves. So if it's not good here, 45 minutes you can drive down and you can usually get in the sea somewhere. So the focus most days or every day is to try and get in the sea and go surfing. You're always, I think that's what keeps you motivated with surfing, is there's not, what is the perfect wave, what is the biggest wave, and it is evolving. It's not like mountain climbing where, you climb Everest and it's done, it's moving, and that, I could ride the biggest wave tomorrow, and then the next week after a bigger one could come, and I think, and then you ride that big wave, and you look at the footage and you wish you'd drawn a different line and approached it differently, because you can ride any wave 1,000 different ways, and I think that's what draws me to surfing, it's constantly moving and evolving, and there's no right or wrong way to do it, and that's what's great about sport, a sport like that. So yeah, we're always, obviously, we're always filming and working. We're actually, we've just finished filming season 2 of 100 Foot Wave. which is on HBO Max. But we've just started filming season 3, so we're straight into the next season. So season 3. Other projects, I've been working on a project about measuring waves, like with actual data, like real data. So there's a team of scientists from Barbados who've got this drone with this tech on it, and it can measure a wave from the highest point to the lowest point, like within inches. So it's pretty rad.
Some people debate that you actually wrote that.
Yeah.
Right?
Every big wave surfer's ridden the biggest wave ever. And that's just because we all have, and you can always find an angle of a wave that looks crazily big. But my goal would be to ride the biggest wave ever, but have actual proof. Yeah, not like just hearsay from a scientist who's going to measure it and work out. So my goal would be I want to ride it like a 100-foot wave, but I want it to be measured scientifically with actual fact data, real data. And with these guys, we've been working on it and been testing it in wave pools, and they were here last year, and we measured one of the biggest swells last year, and it was super interesting what we're coming out with.
That's awesome.
So that's ongoing. They arrive next month. They're here for a month, and we're going to be measuring waves.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.